Welcome back to Game Galaxy, and today we're talking about 90s PC fighting games. Back in the 90s, fighting games were a big deal. We had these monolith franchises pushing the genre forward like Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat. I used to play Street Fighter 2 on my Sega Genesis for hours, whether it be by myself or with friends. Now, because of the success of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2, it spawned a lot of clones, if you will. But there were some games during this time that still had originality of their own. Now, the most popular way to play fighting games at home would of course either have been on the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. But there were also fighting games that were developed for MS-DOS and specifically played on the PC during this time as well, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I wanted to talk about 4 games that I grew up playing that were fighting games on the PC that were just awesome. And these are in no particular order whatsoever, but first up is Body Blows. Body Blows was originally released for the Amiga in March of 1993, but of course I played the DOS version, and this game had great colors with a great art style and a wide variety of characters, from street thugs, dancers, ninjas, and even Wall Street executives. Now, the way you control this game is a bit odd though. It uses only one button for attack and makes use of 8 directions from your controller. Each direction will dictate a different move. Simply holding the button will charge a character's unique special move as well. Body Blows really takes me back to a nostalgic time. Now, this next game is my favorite game out of any of the games I'm going to talk about today, and that's Sango Fighter. Sango Fighter came out in 1993, and it is amazing. It is truly unique, and it doesn't follow after any other fighting game. It is one of a kind. Sango Fighter takes place in ancient China in the Three Kingdoms era, and you take control of a team of 5 fighters that travel the land partaking in battles to reclaim and unify the land for your warlord, Liu Bai. And what's interesting is every person on this team that you can choose to fight with are actual Chinese historical figures, and these are actual historical Chinese battles. The gameplay of Sango Fighter is so good and well balanced. Every character has a good set of moves, and none of them are bad. They each have their own strengths, and because I know the game so well, certain fighters are better matched against certain foes, but I have to say my favorite character is Zhang Fei. He's so powerful between fireballs, a flipping kick barrage, and a killer uppercut. Man, this dude is unstoppable. Back in the day, before I had the full version of this game, I just had the demo, and I played that demo with my brothers and by myself over and over again, and it only allowed you to play Guan Yu and Zhang Fei and partake in one battle. So I played with those 2 characters the most, so those are really special to me in that regard. As you progress across the country and confront other generals and warlords, you'll also be pit against common soldiers. Throughout the battle with the guy you're there to defeat, they'll retreat sometimes during the battle and send out grunt soldiers that you have to defeat until he rejoins the battle. No other fighting game I have played does this kind of dynamic flow, and it isn't annoying either. It somehow feels as if you're battling their entire enemy camp, and when you finally defeat the leader, you really feel accomplished. The background art for this game is so beautiful and such a great use of colors. Of course, this looks like an old 2D fighter now, but back in the day, man, this looked so amazing. I still think it looks great, and the music is awesome. I remember figuring out the main theme of Sango Fighter on piano and just playing it over and over again. Another unique element in this game is when you pick your character to fight with, you will fight with that same character until they're defeated. Now, once they're defeated, you don't get to continue, but it's also not game over. You get taken back to the character selection screen, and the character you were playing as is now grayed out because they've been defeated or killed. And so you now have to choose from the remaining fighters to jump in the ring and have their hand at trying to defeat the bad guy. And I think that is so cool. And obviously, if you lose with all 5 fighters, it's game over. So that's just a really cool, unique thing that you get another chance to fight this battle against these foes with your whole team. It really gives you that team feeling, and I love it. When you finish story mode of the game, you can jump into battle mode and take on your own teammates as well as the rest of the cast from the game. And I tell you, going back to play this game and get this footage for this episode was so much fun. Not only did I remember every single move, I just genuinely had a lot of fun and ended up playing this for hours. And I actually will continue to play it because I love this game so much. So here's a quick public service announcement. Sango Fighter 1 and 2 are available for free download at sangofighter.com, and this is totally legit. In 2013, a developer team called Super Fighter Team bought the rights and made it available to everyone. one. You'll need DOSBox to get it working properly, of course, but you can go to sangofighter.com and download it and experience this fantastic game. Go check out Sango Fighter. Next is the classic giant robot fighting game One Must Fall 2097. Released in 1994, giant robot fighting has become a sport in the future. The robots are piloted through a physical and mental link with their pilots. You get to pick from 10 different pilots that have their own stats in strength, speed, and endurance. There's also 11 robots to choose from, so finding the right combination between pilot and robot is key. But everybody knows the Jaguar, which is the mascot for the game, is just awesome. Each robot has their own unique set of skills and moves, and the stages have hazards in them as well, from spikes that randomly shoot out or fighting inside of an electric cage. It's all there for entertainment. Now, one feature that's really cool is when you defeat an opponent, a news reporter will take over and make comments on the match you just had, and they'll say different things depending on how you did, but they'll show actual screenshots that get taken from your battle. That's something that really is an awesome feature and further adds to the game's world and mythos. This is one of those games that has deep lore, story points, and just opportunities for fans to run wild with. The main story mode consists of a competition held by the World Aeronautics and Robotics Company. The winner will be the leader of the first human base on Jupiter's moon, Ganymede. But the meat and potatoes of this game, to me, is its tournament mode, where you get to create your own character and partake in robot battles and earn cash to level up your robot in strength and speed and power, and even customize the color, and ultimately buy better robots and trade up your robots and become the greatest robot fighter pilot of all time. And to me, that is where I got into the game, and it has the most value. One Must Fall 2097 definitely has a lot of replayability, and oh, you can do fatalities as well and smash your opponent's robot to pieces after you've won. The music in this game is incredible too. Like many games that Epic Mega Games published, it has that amazing mod format music sound. I love mod music, I've said that before. If you don't know what the mod format is, just look up some examples. I'm sure there are some examples on the internet. It just has that awesome, perfect video game type sound. Now, I have great memories too of playing this game with my cousin Rob. So Rob, if you ever watch this video, we're gonna have a One Must Fall showdown. You win. The final game is from 1995, and that's fxfighter. fxfighter is a 3D fighting game where an alien Argyle is challenging the entire galaxy to a massive tournament, and if you lose, he blows up your planet, so it's literally a fight for survival. If you defeat Argyle, you'll get his planet, which is a powerful weapon as well. fxfighter was so awesome when it came out because it had a killer soundtrack of electronic music and 3D graphics that look hilarious and rudimentary now, but they were pretty groundbreaking in 1995. It plays much like the original Tekken or Virtua Fighter does, but the controls have a bit of a learning curve. There's a button you actually have to press to jump instead of just pressing up, so that really takes some time getting used to. Timings for combos and moves are very precise, so there's a lot of depth here, with some of the biggest varieties of moves per character I've seen in a fighting game. Once you get the flow of the game, it's really fun. I always played as Jake the Human because I think he's the best, and he fights shirtless, and that's badass. But also, the rest of the characters are a bit weird. Mine is Kiko the Amazon chick or Saiban the robot, but I'm a Jake man. This is a game that really needs a joystick or arcade stick to pull off some of these moves because you just can't do it on a pad or keyboard the right way. fxfighter was supposed to have a release on the Super Nintendo, with Nintendo helping develop and publish the game, but they canceled it because Nintendo decided to bring Killer Instinct over to the Super Nintendo, and they didn't want the two games to compete with one another. Obviously the Super Nintendo version made use of the Super FX chip that also games like Star Fox used on the Super Nintendo, so I always assumed the name fxfighter came from the fact that it used the Super FX chip technology. So that's why I believe the game is called fxfighter. Here's a word of advice to anyone that actually tries to play this game on DOSBox. You'll need to actually slow down your CPU emulation just a touch because otherwise the game runs way too fast. Also, if you don't have an actual copy of the game like I do, you're not gonna have that awesome CD soundtrack. The last fight with Argyle is so aggravating because if you fall, he'll just pick you up and throw you out of the ring, resulting in a ring out. All in all, fxfighter stands as a milestone in PC gaming and 3D graphics graphics in general, and it will always have a special place in my heart.
Someday, I'll meet a real fighter.
Thanks for joining me today to talk about 90s PC fighting games. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And did you guys play any of these games back in the day? Also, let me know, what were other fighting games that you played that weren't Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter in the 90s? It doesn't even have to be on PC, just what were those fighting games that you loved that weren't Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share this video to spread the love of the 90s, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you next battle.